Hello, I'm Old Norse specialist Dr. Jackson Crawford. The tale of the making of Mjolnir, among other treasures of the Norse gods, is told only by Snorri Sturluson in the Prose Edda, although elements of the story are referenced in Kynnings that suggest that the story is in fact of greater age. According to this story, Loki had cut off the hair of Siv, the wife of Thor, til lævísi, says Snorri, for the sake of deception. Thor apprehended Loki following this and ordered him to go find some svartálfar, dark elves, and get them to make a new head of hair for Siv out of gold that would grow like hair from her head. Loki then went to some dwarves, dvergar. This strongly suggests, of course, that the dark elves and the dwarves are the same thing, which is also suggested by other strains of evidence, as I've discussed in my Dwarves and Elves video. And the particular dwarves he goes to are called the Sons of Ivaldi. Their particular names are not given, just the name of their father. The Sons of Ivaldi make this head of hair for Siv out of gold, and they also make a ship called Skidbladnir, which always has a favorable wind no matter where it sails in whatever direction, and which can be folded up and kept in a pocket. They also make the spear called Gungnir, which never misses its target. Following the creation of these treasures, Loki goes to another dwarf named Brokr, or Badger. I like the names of the dwarves and their meanings, so I'll use the meanings of the names. And Loki bets Badger that his brother Eitri, Poison, can't make three treasures better than these. And Loki specifically bets his head, i.e. Badger can cut his head off. If in fact his brother does make the better treasures, Loki can cut Badger's head off if Poison doesn't make better treasures. Alright, well, Badger and Poison get to work. They go to their forge, they put a skin of a pig into the forge, and Badger's working the bellows as Poison works the hammer. And out of the forge comes a golden boar that glows with a light no matter how dark it is around it. And this is a great treasure that will be known as the boar Gullinbursti. Loki has tried to, along the way while they're making this boar, Loki tries to distract Badger by biting him on the arm. He turns into a fly and lands on Badger's arm and tries to bite him. But Badger keeps working regardless. Second thing they do is they start to work on a ring. And Loki gets worried, bites Badger on the neck while he's working the bellows, still in the form of a fly. But Badger keeps working and they complete the ring, and this is the ring Draupnir, which every 9th night makes 8 copies of itself. Of course, 9 is the magical number in Old Norse. And third, they begin working on another treasure. Now Loki's really worried. They're working on a hammer, and it's coming out looking pretty spectacular. Loki positions himself as a fly between Badger's eyes and bites down hard, causing some blood to spurt into Badger's eyes. This causes him to hesitate or something with the bellows. He misses some crucial step, and so the hammer comes out slightly flawed. It has a short shaft or grip. But this is the great hammer Mjolnir, which will be carried by Thor and which will destroy anything it touches, will return to Thor when he throws it, and can shrink down to the size of a small amulet to be worn around one's neck. Then Loki takes these treasures along with the dwarves before a council of the gods, or at least 3 gods, Odin, Thor, and Freyr. He gives, of course, the head of hair for Siv to Thor, as well as Mjolnir. He gives Skidbladnir to Freyr, as well as Gullinbursti the boar, although in another source, in Ynglinga saga, also by Snorri Sturluson, Snorri says that Skidbladnir, the ship, belongs to Odin. And then he gives Gungnir the spear and Draupnir the ring to Odin. And he asks the gods to decide whether Ivaldi's sons or Poison and Badger made the better treasures. And the gods decide that it was in fact Poison and Badger. The hammer, the ring, and the boar are better treasures than the head of hair, the spear, and the ship. And so, of course, Badger wants Loki's head, and Loki offers to pay him off, but Badger says no chance. So Loki runs away using his magical shoes that allow him to run over sea and sky. But Thor catches him, and then Badger takes him in hand and is prepared to sew his lips shut because he's, of course, been a fraud and a liar. But his needle won't pierce Loki's lips. So he says, wow, I wish that my brother, Aller, literally awl, the tool for working with leather, were here. All of a sudden, his brother, who literally is an awl, appears. There are many dwarves in Norse myth that actually appear as animals or as inanimate objects. Think of Andvari the fish in Volsunga Saga, or in fact, the otter, the dwarf who lives as an otter, whose name is Otter in the Saga of the Volsungs. So Badger takes his brother, the awl, and sews Loki's lips shut with a thread that is called Vartari, which is difficult to read as much other than wart maker. And of course, Loki will then open his mouth, ripping open the thread, causing his lips to be scarred with welts or perhaps wart-like shapes. So out of this strange story, which again only Snorri tells, we have the origin of many of the gods' greatest treasures, as Gungnir and Draupnir are often referred to in both the Poetic Edda and the Prose Edda as positions of the god Odin. And of course, Mjolnir is referred to very frequently as the principal weapon of Thor in his wars against the giants, protecting the gods in Osgarðr and the humans down in Midgarðr. For those couple of people who might watch this channel regularly, it's been a rough Thanksgiving break, so I am just getting back to putting these videos together. I do have some on reserve, but many of those are fairly long videos that take a long time to edit and prepare text for. So I am going to get back into the swing of things, and I've also prepared more Patreon rewards that I hope people have been interested in checking out. I've done, for instance, a complete translation of Krokamál, one of the supposed last words of Ragnar Lothbrok, and I post a bunch of other fun things there too. So I hope you'll check that out. I hope you'll check out my translation of the Poetic Edda and the Saga of the Volsungs, which render those sources of Norse myth in contemporary English and dynamic style. For now, from beautiful Colorado, I'm wishing you all the best.